I don't really want this wing looking like my chest, so I'm gonna take it off. Hello! Welcome to the internet, people. Today I'm going to be continuing the detailing process on my 1983 Audi Coupe Quattro. If you are new to this channel, up above my head is a link to the first video where I started the little detailing mini-series I'm going to be doing on it. And for everybody else, this is a box containing a paint thickness gauge. I bought it because that's the original paint that's 38 years old and it's a single stage. And I need to know just how much I can or cannot polish because it's got some etching and some little swirls and all kinds of imperfections in the finish. I'm proud to announce that today's video is sponsored by Winging It because sometimes you just need to get shit done. So this is just like a cheap Amazon paint gauge. Nothing like winging it when you're working on a car as rare as this that means as much to you as it does. Oh, it automatically senses the type of metal. That's cool. So this is 5.3 mils thick. That's actually pretty good, I think. But right here, 5.5 mils thick, 6.8 mil thick. That's some thick paint, I think. 7.2 mil thick. I mean, that'd be a really hard area to polish the paint off, so I can see why. Two things here. One, it's a white car. So most people that own white cars don't go crazy with constantly polishing them. Even if it's single stage, it's white. You know what I mean? So I think that's a good thing that's going for me. And secondly, because it is single stage white, it has titaniums in the finish, which makes this paint super tough. All right, Gump, we're gonna do a little test procedure on you and compare. I've owned my Forester since brand new. It's a 2015. It's been garaged its whole life. And I constantly polish it, which should actually wear the paint away a little bit. And it's got a clear coat. It's a tri-stage paint. It's a pearl paint. So let's see. On the side of the Forester, it's 5.4 mils thick. I'm gonna try right here on the center of the hood because I know I polish the hell out of the hood constantly on this thing. 5.2 mils thick. Let's try the hood of my Graham's Ranger. 5.5 mils thick. I know the Calypso green metallic on the Ranger is not a single stage. This does have a clear coat from the factory, so it's very similar to the Forester. And this thing again was also garaged its whole life and my Graham took good care of it. So what I'm thinking is because single stage paint doesn't have a protective clear coat, the paint is a little bit thicker because it is a single stage paint, so there's no protective clear coat on it, so they might have added extra paint from the factory, or the fact that this was a super expensive car. Brand new. I think this car was like 50 grand back in 1983. If you look right here on the front fender where I unfortunately have a pretty major chip scratch on the front of the car, you can see just how thick this paint is. I can feel it with my fingernail. And it's got like a grayish black base coat under the white and a little bit of, I think that's just rust right there from the metal. This right here is my little Milwaukee rotary polisher. This is not a DA, so I have to be super careful with this, but I'm only using it because it's a 3-inch on the small surfaces that I can't get my large polisher on. I don't have any of those little fancy high-end detailer polishers. So, and then this is a package of miscellaneous pads. Orange is gonna be my most aggressive cut. If you look at the top edge of this flare, there's a bunch of etching. See all that? There's a ton of it. There's a piece where like there was some bird poop right there on the side. Just a disclaimer for everyone watching that wants to critique the methods, the products, the tools I'm using in doing this. I am not claiming that I am a professional detailer, nor am I a professional detailer. I know enough to be dangerous, and I know what not to do to screw something up permanently. I have, however, painted a car before, and I have wet sanded a vehicle, so I have a great understanding of what it takes to paint a car and what I'm working with here, so that should help me from doing anything terrible. I gotta stay away from the edge more than anything, because last thing I wanna do is burn the edge. So again, I gotta be very quick with my passes on here. This isn't really the ideal tool for the situation, but I don't own the ideal tool for the situation, so like I said, I'm winging it. Oh, perfect time for my light to die. Awesome. I just spent 3 hours on a rear quarter panel. I tested a bunch of different products that I had to see what worked best, and my DA with a 1500 grit cut compound doesn't do anything to this paint. I was literally taking this 3-inch rotary Milwaukee polisher and I could sit in one spot for like 20 seconds and the paint wouldn't even get hot. That is the gnarliest shit I've ever had to try to polish in my, it's like polishing concrete. There's still a ton of etching in this paint because wherever it sat for a couple years before the second owner purchased it, and it just was covered in bird poop or something and it ate away at the paint. But with that said, I need to go to the paint store and get some more supplies. I need to get more abrasive. Hello, tomorrow people. I want to start out today with a little game of how's your car been painted before? I'm gonna go around the parking lot and spy on people's paint jobs. We all know the MR2 has been resprayed because I painted it. Oh yeah, look at that. 14 mil thick paint. Definitely a respray. Let's look at Brandon's little Miata with the clear coat peeling off of it. 4 mils. Yep, that's the original paint. How about where the clear coat is? 6 mils. Yeah, let's do this thing. This old Tercel. 2 mils. 2 mils of paint on the hood. 4.5, that's the original paint on the hood. Surely a panel on this has been resprayed before. Let's try just like a random part on the back of the truck. Ah yeah, 9 mils. 11 mils. Definitely a respray. Pretty much it's safe to say anything in the 4 to 7 mil range is factory paint on a car. Anything more than like 8, 9 and up, I would say that it's a respray, but probably thin coats, or like my MR2, 14 mils. You can tell it's got an original base single stage coat and then a respray on top with a nice thick clear, so it's 14 mils. Let's see if Dave's truck has been resprayed. Oh yeah, it's definitely been resprayed. It's peeling a little bit. Oh, 8 mil? Did you repaint your truck? Never in its life?
Never in its life. Oh yes, once.
Ah, okay. I don't think that's healthy for you. It smells like shower curtain and cat piss. So I'm gonna tape off this rubber molding just in case, even though I still need to get this grime from the edges here. What I'm using is a fine cut foam pad and a cut compound that's designed to remove 1200 grit sand scratches. I actually spent most of the day yesterday doing the other side of the car and the hood, so you'll see that in a second in the time lapse, but I have to say this is a winning combination. The only thing I have to do is every once in a while I check the paint periodically with the backside of my hand, make sure it's not getting too hot, but it's knocking out like 80% of the acid rain and the pits and the etching from bird poop that was sitting on this car. So without further ado, let's go into a time lapse. I got like 50% of the car done now. That was about 6 hours worth of straight labor in that time lapse that you just watched. And before I get too far ahead, I have stuff all over my tits. Guess it's not the first time. This is the worst spot in the entire car. It looks like there's like gray splotches all over the paint right here. This is actually from bird poop. Those areas are heavily etched in the paint. And that's because before I bought this car, the previous owner actually acquired it through like a barn find situation. The car had sat for years and it was covered in all kinds of bird poop and dirt and dust. That's why the paint is so contaminated like it is. So it took quite a bit of buffing and polishing, but you can see it's almost all gone. I still got a couple areas. There's one little spot right here. I get hit up a little bit more. And then I have not done anything down here. So you can see how heavy it is down here. I checked periodically as I was going along with the paint depth gauge. And in the worst areas where it had the worst pitting, I went from a level of about 7.4 mil down to 6.6. And I was looking at one of the spots here on this door and the other door and on the front fender where there's chips down to bare metal. And you can see there's only one layer of primer and white paint on this car. So it's got a good, healthy, thick coat. This thing is super heavy and the struts no longer hold it open. I don't really want to get cut in half, so I bought these things right here. They're from Sweden, I think. Les Dwarfs. There are some OEM struts for this car. I guess I gotta strategically place my arm in front of my chest for the rest of the video so it doesn't look like a scene from a cheap porn. I wouldn't be a cheap porn, I'd be an expensive porn. 81 to 86 coupe. Come out of your home. Wait. Which way? Oh, you go the other way. Oh, this thing is so heavy. There we go. Oh, nice. I don't really want this wing looking like my chest, so I'm gonna take it off. Since this thing's made out of rubber, it doesn't clean up as easy. Wing is off. How's this thing look wingless? It looks weird. Oh my god, that looks weird. Something doesn't look right back here. It like absolutely needs that rear wing to make the car look complete. It looks like a Hashiroku a little bit. Without it. Nope. No thank you. Clean this up a bit before I buff it. Well, that clays up pretty nice. Before I finish out this hood, I want you guys to see the difference. I did the front half already, and that's the back half. That's how full of swirls and etching and all kinds of nonsense this hood was. It's the final time lapse. Do-do-do-do. I ran into one of those situations where now I realize why so many YouTubers just hire people to build their cars for them. It's now 8 o'clock at night and I'm still at it. The hood is 90% done. The rest of the car is 90% done and the roof is getting there. But this area right here is a bane of my existence. I don't know if that even makes sense. I'm tired. Anyway, you can see there's like this gray smudge that goes all the way around the sunroof, which is covered in felt, so that's nice. But I got it off right here by using some Goo Gone. It's like a weird, like, residue of something, I don't know, but once it's gone, I can polish it all out. But this is taking forever to get this stuff off of there. Right here is a good example of it. You can see I started wearing it away, but it's like a tar goo substance that's super sticky and it's just like stuck to the paint right there. See what I'm talking about? I'm really struggling to try to figure out what the hell that stuff is. I don't know if it's like some kind of protectant or something that was on the felt around the window, or if it's just from years of water buildup that sat on the edge there and just stained over time and built up with like sap and bird poop and whatever in it. I'm gonna call it quits here even though it's not done. And the next video, I'm gonna start disassembling more stuff on this car and clean and inspect further. So I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye.